It's almost there.
No
It's
problem.
thinking. It's thinking hard. We are live. Okay.
Hey, hello, my friend.
Hi, everybody. Welcome to Dry Eye Shop Live. So I'm Rebecca, and I am super excited to have Suzanne Paulson from iEco here today.
Hi, y'all. From lovely, burning hot triple degrees, Temecula, California.
Oh my God, that's right. I was pretending to be jealous of the heat. I'd like somewhere in the middle, right? Just been like freezing early spring weather up here.
Yeah, I'm with you. I've something around 75, 80 degrees, just perfect. No wind, a little humidity would be good, you know. But
Meet in the middle somewhere here.
If we
All
could
right.
do that, we wouldn't be sitting here if we could do that, right?
Right, I need to run over just a few quick dry eye shop updates, and then we're going to circle back with Suzanne, and we've got so much to share. So just a couple quick things. Aiden, as a lot of you know, is in Guam for a month. He sent me an incredibly gorgeous picture of a sunrise. I put that in the newsletter this morning. So if you're on the mailing list, you might have seen that. Next week, I am going to be out of town, so there's going to be no live streams either for the shop or the foundation, but be back the following week. Wanted to run over a couple of back order things. We don't have anything major going on dry eye products, thankfully, but on the scleral lens side, we're improving, but not quite there. So scleral fill is thankfully all back to normal after that very long gap. If we have any gaps now, it's not going to be more than 24 hours. We're still having trouble just gauging exactly how much of it we need. So we kind of have one pallet coming in after another, but those should be fine. Lacquer and Unique pH, we are continuing to be quantity limited. Every month we only get so much, and we thought we had enough this time to last a month, but yet again we ran low. So we're just really suggesting everybody stock up when you can get it, because we know those things are hard to get anywhere at this point. And if you ever need to know like when a shipment is coming in or anything, just give us a call or shoot us an email or a text. And we will have more of all of those, the Lacquer and the Unique, next week. I mentioned last week the new DMV scleral lens stand that's coming. We should have that on sale by the end of next week, and I'm hoping to get a video out there for you before I go out of town next week. And then one last thing, and I put a link to this on the YouTube live stream page, the preservative awareness survey that we finally finished up. I want to go over the results in detail, but that's going to have to wait for another day. But I did put that link out there just to be able to go through the charts and comments on the results. It was fascinating. People just really poured out lots of comments about where they're at with this and what questions they have. So have a look at that. All right, so back to our main feature today. I gotta say, I mean, if you have dry eye and you've had it for a while, you know iEco for sure, and you probably know Suzanne as the founder and CEO. I mean, they've just been so central to our dry eye world for so long, and really the only innovators in some really important spaces for us in protecting our eyes at night and warm compresses and 1,000 other things. But more than anything, just as people with a passion for a person, right? Suzanne, with a passion for our dry eye community. Suzanne, would you mind just telling the story a little bit of how you got started?
Well, yeah, I would love to, but I also, I loved, before we went live here, just reflecting, it's like we've been in this for so long. I mean, I started mine in 2003, so we're coming up on 20 years. Right? And you were 2004?
Yeah.
Yeah. I mean, and I just think that it's a wonderful thing to look at where we are today compared to where we were back then. And our passion for helping people with dry eye find some form of relief, right, was this call out almost 20 years ago, 18 years ago, just listen, please listen, there's gotta be something, right? To now, look what's available. And we're just getting started. And I think I mean, you asked how I got started, it really was Sjogren's patients. And at the time that I started the company, I I was a CEO of another company that it was called Panoptics, and now they changed it to 7i. But at that time, we had these dry eye patients, and they were predominantly Sjogren's patients using our products, which were at the time this book called Windless Eyewear, and being developed and designed for Harley Davidson riders. Yep, there it is.
Here on my desk. I know
exactly. And for snowboarders. And probably a lot of people don't know why that was those two markets, but the founders, there were 3 founders, and 2 of them that were running the business before I came in. One was a ski guy. He loved the snow sports, and the other guy was a Harley guy.
My God, I never knew that.
Joel and Ernie. And so they just did what they love to do. And so when we discovered these patients, these dry eye patients using our products with flames on the side, wrap sunglasses with flames on the side for Harley riders, I'm going, holy moly, man, there's something here. This is actually very, I was really grateful that we were able to do something, because we would get these letters from, again, predominantly Sjogren's patients that were saying, thank you, thank you, thank you. I finally have something that's enabling me to walk outside on a windy day. I can now take my dog for a walk, at night because of the clear lens. I can all these different things. And we're going, this is amazing. And so for obvious reasons, the demographic for Panoptics and how we were developing products was not for the dry eye patient that we knew almost 20 years ago, right? Because even at that time, as you well know, it was all believed to be aqueous deficient dry eye, right? Because they were the ones being so symptomatic. And so it was just I turned 40 and I thought that this is it. I have a calling. I feel like I need to do something. It's not right for this business that I'm running right now, but I've always wanted my own business. And I thought, now's the time to do it. If I'm going to start a business, I'm going to do it now. And I might regret it, but I'll regret it more if I don't do it. And I want to do it because I thought, my first thought was, how can we as a society, as a country, spend billions on skincare and only have a $500 million business for eyes, the eyeballs, right? It was drops and ointments. Restasis came out later. But I mean, you're looking at that, you're going billions and billions on the skin and how you feel. But these poor patients suffering from dry eye, nothing available, nothing. So I thought, well, I had been in the eyewear space for many, many years. And so from a business standpoint, I had, a non-compete. So I thought, okay, I can't go out and do eyewear, right? But what I can do is one thing that in the research, both research, at the time, Dr. Mathers, I think, was one of the early ones that was humidity, the effects of periocular humidity, right, in the eye. And it was like how it helped with the thickness of the tear film. And there was very early research. And I thought, humidity. Okay, humidity must be a friend. Humidity is a friend to the eye. And that's where that whole idea of the tranquilized goggle, the first goggle, came to be, was I can create like a little moisture chamber that people can sleep with. It's not it doesn't interfere with my non-compete. I can get it out in the market relatively quickly. And I think people really are going to love this. And so it was just one of these things. And I know that throughout the years, you've been such a wonderful collaborator that we were more or less talking to each other, because a lot of people wouldn't listen. And so it was really from a product development standpoint, to your earlier comment, I just wanted to help people feel better. And so every time that I could hear a need, I thought, how can we do this? How can we do this? How can we do this? And it just drives you to continue innovating, because at the end of the day, what you're creating is really improving the quality of life for people. And I'll start crying thinking about it. But that really, to me, is just a beautiful thing, because it's not just one thing. It's not just one product. It's not just, there's no silver bullet to this. And it is a beautiful thing to look at the dedication of so many of these real, the academic, on the academic side, right, of the doctors that invested in this research very early on and were passionate about it as well, to drive this industry to a point where now we have this enormous toolbox available for patients to help them not only manage real chronic pain today, but hallelujah, hopefully eventually embrace this whole topic as primary care to prevent premature development of chronic dry eye. And that is a huge milestone. And I just do not see this train slowing down anytime soon. I'm so excited about it. So that's how I got into it, and that's why I'm still doing it.
Thank you so much, Suzanne. I think back to those days. I mean, I first came across you and Tranquilized it was pretty soon after you guys got started. I think my memory of it is SECO, a conference in Atlanta. This was back when I was in Florida. And at that time, I mean, you talk about a dry eye industry and all this toolbox, right? I mean, just like I said, back then it was plug and drop, and you were lucky if you knew could find a doctor who knew what plugs were and how to use them. There was just not much out there. Restasis had barely come out. But if you went to a conference like that for optometry, dry eye was a rarity. We had a tiny little dry eye shop booth. You guys were there. I remember Jeff there with TheraTears. And was there even anything else? And now we have lots of company, and that's just incredibly exciting. That's a huge difference. I mean, I think back then, and when you're talking about like the Panoptics glasses and things, one of the first places I would have come across those, there was this website called Surviving Dry Eye Pain. And remembering back to the early days of the dry eye world, it was also the relatively early days of the internet. I mean, you could Google some of these dry eye topics and count on your fingers how many pages came up. There were only a couple of sites.
That's a really good point. Wow. What a flashback. Yeah.
You search on some of these things and there's just so much. So we live in an information rich era. Not like all our problems have been solved, but there is so much to be thankful for.
Yeah.
And how much has changed over that time.
Yeah. And it's I mean, look, there was no such thing as an in-office procedure, right?
Yeah.
Right. Nothing. And look at the diagnostic tools. And I think that's part of what we've also learned, I think, and we're seeing is that, a lot of patients, and you hear this all the time too, and I call them just people as myself, we're dry eye sufferers, but it's like anything that was going on, there was a symptom was landing on deaf ears, and the doctors just, and I've, over the last several years, I've shared this a lot because I think it's really important that you need to give your doctor another shot, like find somebody who really cares about dry eye. And they might be the younger ones, but honestly, when there was, if we turn the clock back 15 years ago, there really was nothing there that people knew, and so now if they don't know, well, it's on them. But back then there really was such a little body of evidence of anything that what is ocular surface disease, what is all this stuff, and that to me is also very telling, because this industry is, as we know, it moves kind of slow. It really needs a lot of validation along these steps, and to look at the speed with which this topic of dry eye has accelerated, to me, is really exciting, because the only thing that comes close to it that I can think of is polarized sunglasses, from a previous life when there used to be nothing, and then Maui Jim came on, and now I was doing it. But that, in my context of my world, that's one of the only things I can think of where all of a sudden this category was kind of just built, and that's a very narrow example, but it's exciting, and a lot of dollars going into research for dry eye. So anyway, but yeah, those were some very different trade shows back then.
Weren't they?
Yeah. Yeah. It was like you were just hoping somebody would talk about dry eye. Come on, talk about dry eye. Well, I don't know how many patients with dry eye. I don't see patients with dry eye. You probably remember hearing that, right? Are you looking? Are you talking to them? How do you know? Yeah. And it was just, oh gosh. And now we just know that those were, and they were always kind of perceived as a time, like they took too much time. But really the reality was that they took a lot of time because they didn't know what to do. The doctor didn't know what to do because there were no tools in the toolbox to do something about it. So that has shifted significantly. I'll never forget, I know maybe might be going off tangent a little bit, but when I'm doing the research for Tranquilize, this is back in 2003, I started the company up in Pleasanton in Northern California, and there was he's probably long retired now, but it was an ophthalmologist that was in Pleasanton. So I said, I have this idea. I'd really like to talk to you about it. And he goes, well, the only time I have available is 4:00 on Saturday. I said, no problem. So I go over there at 4:00 on Saturday, and I'm telling him that I'm developing this product for Sjogren's patients. And he goes, why in the world would you do that? I don't think I see 2 of those a year. That's a very small market. And going, are you kidding? Like, why wouldn't you do it?
4 million people in the US.
Yeah. Oh, I tell you, it was just too much. So now it's totally different. We have so many rock stars out there, so many dry eye zealots on the physician side that I applaud every day, and I thank every day, because they are swimming upstream still, but the stream is going faster.
Yeah, it sure is. I'm thinking about just the Sjogren's awareness too over this time. I mean, I think when we started, just the time to diagnosis was far longer than it is today.
Yep.
I think of all the people that I talk to on the phone with dry, because we get people calling in to the shop, to the foundation, with things. Back then, it was like, Sjogren's, I've never heard of it. And now it's like when people call in for the first time, it's often, well, I've already, I've got a rheumatologist and I'm getting some testing done, or I've had my blood work done. It's people know they're coming across that information. So Sjogren's Foundation has done an amazing job raising that awareness. And
hallelujah. Yeah. Steve Taylor, who was the CEO, he started the same year I started IECO. And so he and I remained friends forever until he recently left about 18 months ago. He left, and he's with the he came from the American Heart Association, and he went to another one. But anyway, his passion and drive was the same as yours and I's, and he really wanted to. And I believe that statistic was, it was like 18 years or something from symptom to diagnosis, and the goal was to get it down to 8. Even 8 is like, whoa. Now I think they've done a tremendous job, and it is that awareness helps everybody, because it goes back to it's a multifactorial condition, and there's all different things that it can be attached to. I know we love talking about the nighttime stuff. I mean, it goes back to, from a symptom standpoint, it remains, right, the majority are asymptomatic, they don't even know it. Yet I'm going, when you, all of a sudden, it's like, I always think of relieving symptoms as when you go to get a massage, you don't realize how much stress you have in the body until you release it, right? So your little eyeballs work so hard for you, and they do all this stuff for you, and you just become desensitized, or whatever it is. You just accept it, and you just muscle through this discomfort, right? Where if you just take a pause for a minute, and you can do these little tiny things to give your eyes a break, it goes miles towards improving your daily comfort and quality of life. And that, to me, is really encouraging. I think that's why the stuff that we've done, in particular, a lot of the OTC stuff, over the home treatment, home remedy stuff, is really empowering for people, because you can do it anytime you want. It's for us, all of our stuff is natural, but it gives you, we were talking about this a little bit earlier too, permission to relax. Like, who doesn't need it today with all the craziness going on in the world? Like, oh, sorry, I have to go lay down for 15 minutes. I'm sorry, doctor's orders, right? Permission grant, just grant yourself permission to go check out for 15 minutes and give yourself a moisty compress, and snuggle up with something, a nighttime shelter at night, and close your eyes and enjoy the darkness and just the feeling of humidity around your eyes, and just soak it up. And like, these little tiny things just go a long way towards making you feel. Yep.
Like you're saying, when you say the word symptoms, I can just kind of hear people, just this thing comes up a lot, which is, I don't want to just treat symptoms. I want to get to the root of the problem, right? But I think something that gets lost in that argument somewhere is, these are not mutually exclusive things. I think of our dry eye journeys as a parallel path. I've got medical stuff I need to deal with. I need a good expert on my side guiding me through the medical part of the problem. And I have comfort side issues. That's what I think of as the symptoms. It's how do my eyes feel and how are those affecting my daily life? How are those restricting my time on the computer? How are they restricting how far I can drive comfortably or whether I can go out for a walk like you were talking about? And the tools that we can get to control those symptoms so that we can get our lives back are super, super important. I mean, empowering, I thought, was a great word, because when your eyes get really out of control symptom wise, we can get that to that place of just feeling out of control, and it's unnerving. And anything that we have that can give us more of a sense of control over how that's affecting us, it's a huge deal. Yeah, to be able to do a really comfortable, luxurious compress in the middle of the day and kind of set that clock back. So, to where you started in the morning, because one of the common things we hear from people is that pattern. You start out the day okay, and then it's just all down from hill, and afternoon is worse, and then evening is almost intolerable. But if we can have these ways to set that clock back, it's a big, big
great
deal.
Analogy. Yeah, it's true. It really does. And then it's like a reboot, you get another few hours of feeling more comfortable. And that's why it goes back to, you could do it as often as you want. I know time is an issue, but really when you get into routines, and I think we both heard this too over the years, a lot of it is just making the commitment to breaking up your routines and creating new routines for you, for you and not for any other reason. And it's hard, as we are all, there's so many people, which I love, right, are givers. You want to give, and you want to, be a great, I don't have children. I have a lot of animals. I got horses and alpaca and so I give to I've got my 3 furry little puppies around here somewhere where they're all sleeping. And so if I wake one up, they might all wake up. But before we end, maybe I'll try to get one up. But at any rate, I can never stop caring for them. Right? That's it's like, oh, I got to fill this water. I got to feed these guys. I got to go groom these horses. I got to do, because I have 6 horses now. But at a certain time, your gas tank is empty and you need to fill it up. And I think that's part of when you get, here where we are, we have Santa Ana winds. And on those days are when I have really hard days. Those are when my eyes really hurt, because it's just really low humidity, and you get flare-ups, and it's like, and you just want to keep your eyes shut. And that's exactly what I do, Rebecca. I go in and I actually like my iCloud, my tranquilize, but I'll just do, just time out. Everybody else can wait just a little bit. And then it's like I took a dive in a pool on a hot day when I'm done. It's like you just feel all fresh again, and you go. And I'm not trying to minimize the impact of what goes on, but it definitely makes you feel better. And I like that. So I think that it's a routine, and it's giving yourself again permission to do something for you, and that it's okay to just take a time out.
Right, that it doesn't have to just be about, okay, we've got our long dry eye routines at the beginning of the day, we've got them at the end of the day, and then in between it's just drop, drop, drop. We get to carve out those breaks to do more during the day too. And I know we're starting to run short on time here too, but
gosh, yeah.
Susan, could we talk a little bit about the nighttime sheltering thing?
Yeah.
I am just realizing as we talk through this, I don't even remember when was that like a shift from the warm compresses. When did that?
Well, it's interesting because it started with the tranquilized goggle, right? And there was little sponges that we didn't have heat packs or anything, little sponges that were tucked into the back. And we said, use a little warm water, soak them in warm water, put them in there so that it would be moist heat, like a moisture chamber, basically for night use. And people started saying, that heat feels so good, I wish it would last longer. And that really put us down a path before any science was there about extending the heat. I just started looking for heat sources, how we could extend the heat. And then in that journey, all kinds of products came out great. But then we started hearing more from people that were using CPAPs that were causing the dry eye at night. And the tranquilized goggle was too high profile. It wouldn't fit with a lot of the masks. And that information and feedback came to, well, we need to do something that's lower profile so that people can use this at night with a mask or something else. And so we had the onyx and the quartz, which were the silicone shields. They're resting inside the orbital bones. And then we said, well, this is kind of a neat material and it's nice because it's foamless. So it's not, if people don't want to sleep with foam all night, it's lower maintenance. And so we thought the ICO 4.0 would be even more compelling for folks that when I started to explore just nighttime dry eye, because we started just hearing so much about it. And that's when Lag Ophthalmos and Dr. Lacaney, who was, very much into that world early on. He's the one actually at a trade show that came up to me and he said, that you have Lag Ophthalmos. And I'm like, I do? I'm just staring at him at a trade show, we're having a meeting. And he goes, yeah, you have Lag Ophthalmos. Going, oh. So I go home and I'm telling my sisters and they go, yeah, that's right. Because when you were a little kid, it was always like you were awake. Your eyes were always, and like you'd freak us out because we could see your eyes. I'm going, whoa, that is really bizarre, right? So then all this research comes out about all these people that have exposure at night that, and of course, as we know, you're not producing the tears at night. So if you combine that with, the anatomical thing that's going on with, you've got drafts and air conditionings and forced air heating and fans and all this stuff, you wake up and your eyes feel worse in the morning than they do throughout the day. And there's millions of people that suffer from that. So with the ISO 4.0 came out as a with the spirit of beyond CPAP. This is something which is really good for use for millions of people that have some kind of exposure issue, whether it be from compromised lid seal, which Dr. Korb really discovered with Dr. Now, and the Lag Ophthalmos, floppy eye, which has a correlation to the sleep apnea. But the nice thing about the 4.0 is we were able to vault it more so that but then the onyx and the quartz that preceded it, that gave us more volume for more humidity, for more moisture. And also it was nice because for myself personally, I have long eyelashes and the lashes wouldn't hit when you were, you could blink freely while you're sleeping, or if you wanted to open your eyes and it wouldn't touch anything. So that really has been the kind of the progression of it, was looking at first CPAP use and then discovering that there were a lot more issues going on with nocturnal evaporative stress beyond just the CPAP use, and it required different products, which is something I know you are really dedicated to and help people. We do like what's best for you, because it goes back to what we talked about, right? Patterns and changing behavior. A lot of folks aren't used to sleeping with a mask of any sort. So you have to get used to doing it, but boy, the benefits way outweigh the any kind of a learning curve to learn how to sleep with something. I cannot sleep without my ISO 4.0. No way.
Dr. Lacaney really was a champion of that whole notion of the nocturnal lag ophthalmos, where the lid's not closing at night. And things have changed a lot, but that's still a really overlooked diagnosis way too often. From my standpoint, we've seen kind of a dual problem. On the one hand, all these people not getting diagnosed, so they're doing 101 dry eye treatments, but they're not dealing with the fact that their lids aren't closing because nobody's noticed. On the one hand, and then on the other hand, the ones that are diagnosed, because they've got such a wide opening, they would just be told, use ointment or tape your eyelids down. Yep. So to have something other than, who wants to tape their eyelids down?
Ouch. Or swim goggles, right? Swim goggles were the worst. Back then, they would say, put these swim goggles. And I was like, I couldn't understand that. Like, swim goggles are designed to keep moisture out, right? Why would you do that? Not to mention cut off circulation. So right. That's what was available at the time. But you're so right, and it's a significant issue, and it's easy to diagnose. That's the thing, people. That's why it's great now that there's so many more people are dedicated to this space, because taking a transilluminator, like Dr. Perriman is one of my favorites, right? She's up in your neck of the wood, and this is one of her big passion points, is about nocturnal evaporative stress. And just take that little light, and look, and see if there's light coming through. Turn off the lights in your office, and just lean back and take a look and see the transilluminator, see if light's coming out. And it goes back to if you don't treat that part of, especially if you're talking about MGD, then that cascade of inflammation continues. You just can't get those glands under control. It's not just about what they're doing in office with the LipiFlow or whatever, or evacuating the glands and blah, blah, but it's like it's a 24-hour a day condition, 365 days a year. So look at everything. Look at the diet, look at the patterns, sleep patterns, look at look at all of it, because in everything that we are as humans, there is something that we can do to help it may help it be easier on the eyes. I just believe that it's really true because they're such an incredible part of our human body. And so it's a very, I think a holistic approach is required.
Absolutely.
What you were saying, which is, it's not just about what the doctor is telling you to do, but it's what you're doing for you.
We need our experts that, and thankfully, as you've said, we've got far more of them now. There's a lot more education out there in the medical world. So those dry eye experts are becoming more accessible, more numerous out there to us. But this whole lifestyle management side, how do I manage symptoms? How do I keep comfortable? We're just so fortunate to have so many rich offerings now where we just, yeah, it's been a long ways. It's been a really encouraging journey looking back over it. It's been.
Thank you for everything you've done, Rebecca. You are amazing.
You provide just
my hero
service to our community. I mean, yeah. All right. I am just about running out of time here. So we're going to wrap it up. Suzanne, thank you so much for coming. This has been
my pleasure. My pleasure. And you all enjoy your day out there.
Do you have a furry friend we can see, or are they?
I'm sorry?
You don't want to wake them up?
Oh, my puppies?
Yeah.
I'll wake up one. Come on, little man. Hi. Mom, you scared me. I was dreaming. Wait, here's one. This is little Maggie. She goes, Mom. Here's Maggie. They're all miniature schnauzers.
Oh, beautiful.
This one's Maggie. Her 1-year birthday was yesterday. And then the other one is 10 months, and then the other one is 8 months. So yeah, I got my hands full. She goes, oh, here, hold on. The other one wants to say hi. Hold on. Okay, come here. Come here, Sasha. She goes, oh. There's Sasha. And come here, Duke. Ready? One more. Come here, buddy. Oh. You're on camera. Here comes my little boy.
Oh.
They're shop dogs. They come to work every day.
Oh, I'm so jealous. Well, Suzanne, we're going to be down. You're in your neighborhood for the Academy meeting this year.
Oh, lovely. Come see me. Come see. Let's get together.
Really well.
Have some coffee.
Right. Thanks a million again. Thanks.
Thank you.